the Concord grape industry has been challenged. We all understand the reasons behind that. The economic realities of it certainly are harsh.
There was a crisis happening in the Concord industry in Chautauqua County.
As we know how important that agriculture is to the economy of New York State. And we have so many assets here, and we really do. And this is the grape capital, I believe, of America, right? It's the grape capital of America.
I want to underscore that one thing I've learned about summits, though, is that they are not the end of anything. They are the beginning of a lot of work, but they're the beginning of good things. Since the governor gave us this opportunity to hold a Concord Grape Summit, our team at Ag and Markets has done some homework. We worked closely with Sam. We worked closely with many of the people here at this table. We worked with Empire State Development. We asked a lot of questions, and I think much of what you folks have said here today kind of reinforces what so many of us intuitively understand. There's a couple of things that I want to mention that they leapt out at me and I underlined as I was taking notes here. New York State would like to do as a result of the situation you find yourselves in. First, I can tell you we're going to continue to support and advance viticulture and enology sciences. That's a given. Specifically, Dr. Sachs, denaturing Concords to create that neutral blending juice. This is a public-private partnership between Cornell, Welch's, and the Wine and Grape Foundation. It's already begun. We're going to make sure at Ag and Markets that continues. So we'll continue to fund that. Secondly, and this was mentioned by Dennis, I think, working with Cornell, we'll continue to support, actually re-up the vine certification program. It's something that kind of fell asleep for a few years. We're going to reinvest in that. We're going to keep that going so you'll have disease-free planting stock available in April of 2019. We're going to continue to work closely, Julie, with Cornell and the breeding program to develop those new varieties. It's exciting to hear of the release of a new seedless table grape. I don't think New York 98 is going to do it in the marketing section of the produce aisle. I can feel a competition coming for a name. But the idea of a seedless sweet table grape with all the flavor and color of a Concord sure sounds like a winner to me. And I think Mark Bordeaux would agree with me. We will continue to develop new products and new markets. I think we heard that pretty loud and clear. Specifically, we're going to provide funding to food and beverage manufacturers to develop new lines using Concords. I'm thinking we're going to call this the Grape State of New York competition. Sorry.
I like it.
I think the winner will get a prize.
And you can have a grape day, too.
Stand by. I'm not done yet. The winner will get a prize. There'll be some funds to help them advance their idea for marketing and for equipment. We are going to market, we're going to fund market development matching grants. This is something the department did many years ago to support new marketing opportunities. This could be funding available in a matching grant form to a grower, to a processor, to a co-op, or even to a region. So I think that one has some great promise. And this next one's kind of fun. We will be administering $300,000 to the Food Venture Center at Cornell. We have to give a lot of thanks on that to Senator Young. We're also going to continue to focus on more institutional purchasing of grape juice. This is something that was almost job one for me when I walked in the door, even before I found my desk at Ag and Markets. The governor said to me, let's make sure that in New York State our institutions use New York products. Let's make sure New York is New York's customer. So we did go to work on that. We've had great cooperation from our partners at OGS, at Department of Corrections, Office of Mental Health, et cetera, Office for the Aging. And I think with Farm to School, as I already talked about that a little bit, we have an opportunity to do a better job to connect that. So I think to get more of our partners in New York State actually using grape juice. Docs has been great. They really upped the ante quite a bit. They were first on the block, and I think there's more opportunities there. We're also going to host some workshops in the next year on export opportunities and marketing assistance. This is something we work with Empire State Development on a lot. We're talking to other countries. We're talking about the opportunities for New York products. We've heard quite a lot from some of our neighbors, notwithstanding the discussions about NAFTA right now, but there's a real interest in some of the things that we produce here. We're going to hold workshops for you to understand how to connect with those markets. Real fast, we're going to increase the grape industry representation at domestic and international trade shows. We booked 3. We figured you'd like to be involved, and we've already booked 3 of them. First of all, just coming up in May, very shortly here, May 19th to the 22nd, the American Food Pavilion at the National Restaurant Show being held in Chicago. I'm going to be there. Our folks are going to be there, and your industry is going to be represented there. Coming up, those of you in the industry are familiar with the PMA. It's the largest produce marketing show in the country, one of the largest in the world. That's coming up in October. We have a presence there. You'll have an opportunity to show off your stuff there as well. And later this December, I will cut the ribbon on New York's Produce Show and Conference, as I have for the last several years. You will have an opportunity to participate there as well. And one other little note, I'm going to have a conversation with our Commissioner of Health later on this week, because we're going to look at what WIC uses in the way of foods, what's acceptable for WIC participants to use, and see if we can get more than one item that contains Concord grapes on their list of products. That's a pretty big pot of money. It's a pretty big population, and a pretty good consumer population as well for you. Vineyard Improvement Program. I think I heard that from you, Dennis, a little bit. New York State will invest $1.2 million to help growers renovate vineyards, plant new vines, or diversify. We're going to roll out a program that will share the cost of removing poorly performing or underutilized vineyards, help growers with the cost of new planting stock, whether it be more Concords or a new variety of grapes. So we're going to roll that out very soon. So $1.2 million. We're going to continue to increase the visibility of grapes in our marketing programs. This is kind of fun for me. This is the fun side of being a commissioner, frankly. We have a Taste New York program. You're all familiar with that. We have a core group of products in all our taste locations throughout the state. Grapes will be one of 10 core products that appear in every welcome center across the state. So things that have Concord grapes in them will be well seen throughout the Taste Regional Specialty Program and all the welcome centers. We're going to feature New York grapes at the Grape New York State Fair. I can't wait to hear Dave Bullard, who was the voice on the video you heard earlier. He's got a great voice, saying it's a grape day at the Great New York State Fair, but he's going to do that. We're going to have a day designated to grape. We're going to give grape vendors an opportunity to participate in our Taste New York tent and see if we can expose you to about 1 million people that are going to come visit our fair this year. We're going to build on the popularity of the craft beverage movement. We heard a little bit about that and the interest in that. This is an industry that has grown 199% in the last 5 years. That's incredible. Stefan, raise your hand over there if you would. Sam's old job and Stefan's current job to help be the one-stop shop for this, but this is a sector that we have not seen the end of the growth in. We don't know where the end of that market is, but I know we're not there yet, so pretty excited about that. And to help that grow a little bit more, Sam, we're going to add a little bit to the Governor's Cup Challenge and put out a challenge to our winemakers to develop a uniquely New York offering featuring Concord grapes in the form of a signature brandy. A Governor's Cup Challenge for a signature brandy. How about that? I think that sounds like fun. I want to talk a little bit about it. Sam mentioned the New York Grown and Certified program. Concord grape growers are certainly welcome to be participating in that program, but we want to add the processing side of products as well to it. This is a very intentional program that the governor asked us to undertake. Again, he called me out at a cabinet meeting along with the Commissioner of Health, wanted to talk about our standards for growing things in New York, wanted to talk about how we can sell more New York products to our consumers. And we came up with this brand for all our New York ag products. We did begin with produce. But it tells the consumer three things: whether the consumer is mom and dad in that grocery aisle, or they're a wholesaler or a retailer, a chain store, or a restaurateur. It'll tell them, number one, that it's a New York product. So it satisfies that local interest. This is locally grown. And so many states have a locally grown program, hooray for our side program, I call them. But our program goes on, number two, it will tell that consumer there's food safety embedded in the process in that farm, in producing that food. And number three, it'll tell them there's an environmental stewardship aspect to what they do. 2 audited programs that will help us tell consumers throughout New York State or the world that our products are grown to a higher standard than anywhere else in the country. So I think this is just the beginning. As I mentioned, summits are not the end of things, there's the beginning of things. But we're committed to working with the people here at the table and with those of you in this room to nurture this Concord grape industry, which I think has a future in front of it. We've got a long history, a heritage really, of Concord grapes here in New York, and I think you're pretty innovative growers. We've got the right science here. We've got the best land grant system for education in the country. With that, I want to thank you all also. Some of you drove quite a distance. Thank you for your insights. This is about collaboration. We're going to continue to do that. And again, a special thank you to the Grape Discovery Center for being our host today, making this room look great, making us feel welcome. Thank you all for your passion, your dedication to this industry. And with that, we'll adjourn. Thank you.